I'll create a new Java project. Okay, I'll hold on. Yeah, I'll create a new Java project known as day 2. So we'll talk about interfaces. What are interfaces as far as object oriented programming is concerned, and how interfaces are used in Selenium. Okay, right. Look, um, yesterday I talked about drivers. I told you yesterday that there are different driver classes like Firefox driver, Chrome driver, Internet Explorer driver. Okay, there are different driver classes, and each driver class has been associated with a particular browser. Fine. So as I told you, does that means that you have to learn about the functions of iDriver separately and Chrome driver separately and Firefox driver separately? Suppose if you have a scenario wherein a script should execute on all the drivers at a single time, right? That is on all the browsers at a single time. So what will you do? Fine. So you have to understand the concept of interfaces in Java for that. Okay. Now what is an interface? Interface is something which gives you an overall idea of how the system is made. For example, if you have to go and buy a book, fine. As a buyer, what do you see? You see the cover face of the book. Okay, after looking at the cover face, you try to judge the book, that how good the book is made, and what all are the features of the book. Okay, what is the main page of the book, or what the book is all about, right? So the first phase of, or the first page of the book gives you an idea, right, that what is taught inside that book, or what is the content of that book. So the first page of the book is like the interface for you, which tells you what the book is about, right? Or if you go to my website qtpselenium.com, right, if you go to the Selenium Training section, this is the interface of the website. This interface tells you that what this is, what the website is offering you, right? Okay, fine. So this the same thing is done by interfaces, right? So I'm going to create a new interface. Okay, and suppose I call that interface as animal. Fine. Okay, now what is the feature of an animal, right? For example, eat, walk. So the interface has just got the method declarations that eat and walk are the two features of the animal interface, right? Okay, there is no method body. If you look at the interface, you can only say that fine, if I have an animal, then animal will eat and he'll walk. Okay, now suppose I make a new class known as cat.java, right? I'll make the class as cat. Fine. And what I will do is that public class cat implements the animal interface. So you write like this. Now what do you mean by implementing an interface? An interface is something which is not complete. It is incomplete. It's just got the method declarations. It hasn't got the method bodies. Okay, an interface is always incomplete. Fine. So public class cat implements animal means that the cat class is showing an error because we have to mandatorily add the functions eat and walk inside the class cat. If a class is implementing an interface, it has to give bodies to all the functions which are there in the interface. Okay, right, so inside it I can type cat eating and cat walking. Fine. Okay. So if you have the animal interface and if class is animal, if the cat class is implementing the animal interface, then mandatorily the cat class has to implement all the functions which are there inside the animal interface. Okay, fine. So what you will have to do is that you will have to give the bodies to the functions. Now at the rate override, this is known as an annotation. This means that the eat, please guys, please turn off your cameras. Fine, because we don't need a camera out here. Fine. So out here, um, just a minute. Right. Out here, you have the eat and the walk functions which are coming up from the animal interface. Okay, fine. Now, similarly, you can create a new class known as, say, elephant. Okay, just giving you very simple examples. Elephant class will also implement the animal interface. Okay, right, and you will have to public class implements animal. So what you have to do is that you will have to, like the way I did in the cat class, right, you will have to implement the functions like eat and walk over here. Okay, you can write over here elephant eating and elephant walking. Right, so what I did was, there was an interface. This interface had few functions. So what I did was I made two classes, made them implement the interface, and they also had the same functions. Right, but what's the use of this thing? I could have never made the animal interface and only made cat.java and elephant.java. Right, the use is that firstly, this gives a structure to the whole application. Just by looking at the animal interface, you as an end user, you can say that fine, these are the two functions, and I am very sure that these two functions would be there in the cat and elephant class. Okay, right, without any second thought you would know that fine, these two functions would be there. And if in future, if any more animal class comes up like dog or something, it will also implement the same interface and have the same functions. Although the function implementation might differ, okay, the function implementation might differ in every class, right, fine, okay, the implementation of the function might differ, but but the thing is that the function names would be the same. Okay, right? Now if I look at Selenium, fine, if I go to the documentation and if I go to the download section and if I look at the Java docs for Selenium, then you will see that hold on, in the documentation whatever is written in italics, in slant, that's an interface. Okay, for example, this mouse is an interface representing the basic mouse operations, right? And these are the various functions in the mouse interface: click, context click, move down, move mouse, right? And these are the implementing classes. Event firing mouse and remote mouse, they implement the interface mouse. Okay, right? Similarly, everybody has heard about the word WebDriver, right? Now what is WebDriver? Guys, please turn off your camera. Sorish, your camera is on. Like, please turn off your cameras. Right. So over here we have the interface WebDriver. Okay. And these are all the known implementing classes. Right. Chrome driver, Edge driver. Right. Okay. Guys, please keep your microphones on mute. Okay. So all of these are the implementing classes: Chrome driver, Edge driver, Firefox, Internet, Opera, Safari, remote web driver. Remote web driver is used in case of Selenium GRID when you have to run the test cases parallelly. I will talk about that as well. Fine. So this is the interface web driver. What all functions are there in this interface? For example, close function will close the browser. Find element will find a particular element or an object in the application. Right. Get will load the new web page. So all these functions which are there in the WebDriver interface, all of them will be there in the implementing classes as well. Okay, so you don't have to worry that if I have to click on a link in Firefox driver or if I have to click on a link using Chrome driver, okay, what do I have to do? The function would remain the same. If you have to close any driver, then you have to create the object of that driver and fire the close function like we did yesterday. Okay, if you have to close iDriver, you have to write i.close, or i.quit is also a function. There is a function difference between close and quit. Okay, similarly Chrome driver will also have the functions like close and quit, Firefox driver, right? So this is the close function which closes the browser, and quit function actually ends the WebDriver session. So it will also be there inside all the drivers. I'll tell you the difference as we proceed. I'll tell you. For example, a function like getTitle, it will be there in every driver class. Okay, so all the functions in all the driver classes, whether it is Firefox driver, Chrome driver or iDriver, all the functions would remain the same. Chrome driver dot get, say http yahoo.com. So the get function would remain the same across all the drivers. Fine. Okay, so you don't have to worry about learning every driver separately. Right, one thing is this. Now comes the second thing. Okay, if I create, listen to this carefully. If I create a new class over here known as say temp.java with the main function, and if I create the object, first of all, if I create the object of the interface, it will give you an error. You cannot create the object of an interface in Java. It is illegal. Interface can never be initiated, you cannot create the object of an interface like you have the animal interface, because interface is incomplete. You cannot just achieve anything by creating the object of the interface. Yesterday we had talked about creating objects. Alright, fine. Now, how do we use interfaces in Selenium? Right, suppose if I make a new class known as basics of Selenium, and suppose if I have a situation where I have a string browser variable equated to Mozilla out here, okay, and I want to test my application, okay, based on the browser value. Later on we'll read this value from an XLS file or a properties file or an XML file, and whatever is the script, suppose you have to write a script to log in to Gmail. Fine. Okay, so you have to initiate the script in such a way that if I change this value to Chrome tomorrow, the script should run on Chrome. The same script should run on Chrome. If I change this value to I, the same script should run on I. So how will you do that? Okay, anyone? Can anyone tell me how will I do that? Based on the browser name, I should be opening my browser and then navigating to the website and logging into Gmail using interface. Okay, anybody else? Okay, anybody else? Please feel free to think and answer. Yeah, Reshma, yes. Anybody else? Okay, somebody is saying we can use if else. Alright. Look, what you can do is that you can use if else. You can write over here that if the browser is equal to Mozilla, then you create the object of say Firefox driver. Okay, hold on, I will import the jar files for Selenium. Hold on, I will include the jar files for Selenium. Okay, these are the default arguments which you can pass from command line. Okay, Poonam, you can ignore that. Okay, you will not need it, but these are the, if you run the program from command prompt, okay, this Java program, then you can pass on some parameters into this, but we don't use that. Okay, so just ignore it and keep it like this. Fine. So if the browser is equal to Mozilla, fine, then Firefox driver equals to, you can write new Firefox driver. Fine. And you can take the driver to Gmail, where you can print the title of Gmail. Okay, right. Now else if the browser is Chrome, then you would want that you initiate the Chrome driver, right, and take the Chrome driver to Gmail and print the title. But this doesn't look good code because I'm repeating the code. Okay, if the browser is I, fine, then you create the object of Internet Explorer driver, right, okay, and you take it to Gmail and print the title of Gmail. Now this doesn't look good. I don't want a code like this. If I use if else, I will end up writing a code like this. Why do I have to repeat the steps? Right? So what we do is that, I'll tell you, hold on. Let me come back to temp.java. What we do is that, I'll tell you, hold on. If I create the object of cat class and I call the function c.eat, c.walk, fine, and obviously if I run it, it will print cat eating and cat walking, right. Similarly, if I create the object of elephant class, fine, and if I write e.eat, e.walk, so this will call the functions of the elephant class, right, and in the beginning the cat class. Now suppose in the elephant class I make a function like, or in the cat class I make a function public void hunt. Now this is a proprietary function for cat, okay, right, which is not available in the elephant class. Okay, so this function obviously can only be called with cat class, right? Okay, if I run this, this prints cat eating, cat walking, cat hunting, and elephant. I cannot call this function with elephant, but obvious, because elephant function has got no elephant has got no hunting function inside it, right? Fine. Okay, now listen to this carefully, whatever I am trying to tell you. Okay, most of the people, they get confused over here only, right. If I create the object like this, animal A equals to new cat. Now earlier we used to write the name of the class reference equals to the new object of the class. I am giving the reference of the interface here and equating it to the object of the class implementing the interface. Okay, right, the reference is of the interface and the object is of the class implementing the interface. With this, if I create the object like this, I can only call the functions which are coming from the interface into this class. Okay, eat and walk are two functions which are coming from the animal interface into the class cat. Okay, I cannot call the function a dot hunt. Although hunt function is present inside the object of the cat class, but since it's a reference of the animal interface, only the functions from the interface implemented in this class can be called. This is illegal. Right, then what is the use of this? Out here I created the object of the cat class, equated it to the reference of cat class, and I could call all the three functions. Out here, equating it to the interface, I can call limited functions. Then what is the use of that? Okay, I'll tell you the use. Hold on. Similarly, you can write animal a1 equals to new elephant as well. So through this, you cannot call the proprietary functions of elephant, but you can call the functions coming from the interface, right, into the elephant class. Now I'll tell you the use. Okay, you have to, if I write over here c1 dot eat and animal c1 dot right walk, fine. If I run this code, it prints elephant eating and elephant walking, right? Fine. Now if I equate it to c1 equals to new cat in the next line, and if I print the same thing and run it, it will after that printing, it will be printing cat eating and cat walking. Reference is same, c1. Dynamically I can point it on my wish to the object of elephant or to the object of cat class. Since both the classes, they are implementing the animal interface. It's upon me, right? This is the animal interface, and cat and elephant class, oh, sorry,